More by-elections looming as MPs eye cabinet positions. Like I said, we can see a number of faces there. Aidan Duale, Alice Wahome, Ndindi Nyoro, Kipchumba Murkomen, quite big stalwarts of the Kenya Kwanza during the campaigns. And President William Ruto is likely to cause more than 5 by-elections when he unveils his cabinet. Already, residents of Bungoma County are gearing up for a mini poll before the end of the year after Ford Kenya leader Moses Wetangula resigned as senator and was later elected Speaker of the National Assembly. And while Ruto is expected to pick some of his confidants to join the executive, he will be increasing the number of by-elections. Well, you can see those are the faces there. And yeah, so it is correct that this is okay. So we have a number of people there. I know, Jim, when we're looking at the formation and the composition that we'll perhaps be seeing from Dr. William Ruto's administration, it has to give us a sense of the kind of direction his administration will be taking the country.
It definitely has. One, of course, it has to have the face of Kenya, as you say it, as required by law. So it means, I know he said he's not going to appoint anyone from the opposition into his cabinet. But I hope that that's only for the politicians, that regular citizens like some of us here are not in opposition, whichever side we voted, and so are eligible to actually be appointed. But my argument is, I think there's a lot of young faces, there's a lot of new blood, so to speak. The Ruto administration in 2013 tried this, bringing technocrats into government.
Exactly.
And it did not work. It did not work.
Really?
Because it did not work. A lot of these technocrats ended up leaving. You take someone from Nairobi Hospital, because they're doing such a good job there. You take them to the Ministry of Health and hope that they'll do such a good job. They get into government and realize that public service and private sector are two different entities. The ethos and the values of public service, the inspiration of public service is different from the private sector. And so a lot of these guys came in with private sector mentality into public service. And then you have a whole chain of public servants who are actually looking at you, and they became enemies of the public service because you're looked at as, so you think that there's a problem with the public service, but your solution is to bring in a private sector person to run that particular public service. There has not been demonstrable success in bringing someone from the private sector into public service. You can take KQ as an example. You can take any other government institution as an example. They have failed time and again. And so it is time that we trusted public servants to run the public service in this country. Cabinet secretaries are political figureheads, as we've come to know them. The people who do the hard work are the permanent secretaries, and so a lot of these individuals are going to be brought in to bring that political goodwill, which is needed, to then manage the public service, the individuals within the public service, that they're able to be given the inspiration that they need, but this person also understands them. It is also good that a lot of them will be reporting back to Parliament, which means that we're raising the levels of accountability to a higher level. So looking at some of the names proposed, I like the fact that I'm seeing a lot of young people in that particular cabinet, a lot of young blood, which again, for us, and a lot of women, they said we have 50-50. So we hope that it goes towards that end, that we have 50-50 split within the cabinet, we have majority representation of young people, and we have majority, the face of the country, across the country, represented in that cabinet. All
right, Suleiman. I mean, when you're looking at what we might likely be seeing in, I don't know, a couple of weeks, perhaps?
I think when you look at the way Article 152 has been drafted, we tend to have a scenario whereby we are having cabinet secretaries who are not members of Parliament, meaning they are not supposed to be members of the National Assembly, neither the Senate. I think the drafters, the intention behind this was that one, they were trying to introduce the aspect of separation of powers that we have on one part the executive, and the other aspect of having the legislature. Then the other thing was that the aspect of appreciating technocrats, people who are brilliant or experts in a certain field. But I think what we tend to have is political promises that were made by maybe the current president. And I think the best thing, or the best trajectory for the president to take is to break those political promises. There is no need of of handpicking someone and you take him to the lands ministry and you expect this person to be in charge of policies to see how that particular ministry can be run. Let me be honest with you, as actually LSK, we are having a lot of problems with the Ministry of Lands, for example. The other day, there's a time we even organized for a march just to demonstrate and show the country the kind of problems that we're having. But look at what we're having. These are friends. We're having the faces of some few friends of the president who shall be given crucial dockets. I think the most important thing that needs to be done is give the people of Kenya an expert in every field. If you want someone to maybe take charge of the Ministry of Treasury, bring them someone with such a background. If you need someone to look at the economy, give us such a person. Now, I think these are the same. Now these individuals are already voted for by Kenyans. They are either in the Senate or in the National Assembly. There are many ways of actually influencing and even improving the country at the legislature level. These are experienced people who are serving us on the floor of the houses. There's a better way of taking advantage of them or putting them into good use. When it comes to the aspect of forming a cabinet, think of good minds. But I'm telling you, the problem that we might not be knowing is there were political promises that might have been made with certain individuals. And someone somewhere has to at least show it that I'm indeed fulfilling the promises I've taken with my friends. But I think Parliament shall be vetting them. I think the aspect of their qualifications, the aspect of the expertise in those particular dockets that they shall be nominated for is a very cardinal issue. Yeah. If you are nominated to maybe head the Ministry of Devolution, show the people of, share with Parliament how you think that you're going to revamp everything. But these are the same old politician faces that we are looking at. And look at it this way. We are staring at about 5 or 6 by-elections possibly. Again, it will be about politics, going back on the ground, having politics of again Kenya Kwanza and Azimio, because the same numbers, the numerical strength in Parliament is a very crucial issue. Look at the gap between the two. It is just it's so minimal. I think again the aspect of putting the whole country into campaigns, the aspect of using a lot of resources down there, the aspect of again IEBC that is still split right in the middle, taking charge of the elections. You are putting us back into a lot of issues as a country. I think what is more important is, as a president, give us people who are well qualified to serve in these crucial dockets. These are about 22 slots. Give the people of Kenya people who you think are so important. Look, a cabinet secretary is not just a flower girl. This is the person who will be appearing in the floor of the house whenever questions are shared by the parliamentarians. This is the person, in the event someone is shot by bandits in, let's say Garissa or Wajir, this is the cabinet secretary who shall be appearing before them and telling the people how the Ministry of National Security, how the security organs are going to counter that.
Don't you think that perhaps it would be prudent to have, these are people, men and women, who stood by the president quite strongly, especially during the campaign and throughout that period when he was sort of left out of the government, and working with him would actually help him and enable him to sort of help his agenda in the country.
There are 50 million Kenyans in our country. It is not about these 4 friends. The president can get good loyalists who are experts, good loyalists who are well cut out in certain fields. Does it mean that these are the only few fellas that he can trust? No, he can get well and competent people. And the other thing, you do not need a serious loyalist to be in charge of a certain docket in the cabinet, because at the end of the day there'll be checks from the legislature and even the judiciary level. At the end of the day, you need someone who can deliver to the people. And this is a government that has campaigned on the platform of saying that you're going to change the lives of the people of Kenyans. Look, when you look at the technocrats and the previous regimes whereby we're having members who are politicians in the cabinet, I think what we need to improve are 2 things. The president has got it right. He said he will have a more aspect of having accountability, in the sense that the cabinet secretaries shall be spending more time with the legislators, meaning they'll be having to answer questions to parliamentarians. But that doesn't mean that you need to introduce these same old political faces in the cabinet. There are more and better experts who are well cut out to do the job. Give those people the best, the opportunities. These ones were already given opportunities by Kenyans. Let them serve the positions that we have elected them to serve us in.